Hi, Namaste. My name is Nidhi Nagori and welcome back to my channel. If you've seen the title already, you know we're talking about Singapore today. What's so special about today's video? Well, I can tell you for a fact that a lot of countries are right now racing because they all want to reopen and they want the best talent, which is why you will see a lot of work permits are now opening up. There's a lot of pathways to get permanent residency. Even Middle East is opening up for permanent status. So Singapore was actually one of the few countries that tightened their bolts very strongly when the pandemic first hit. But since they're now reopening, things are changing. And so today we're going to talk about how exactly you can apply for a job in Singapore, which industries to look for, which websites to go to, and what strategy you can use. If you are interested in moving to Singapore, stick around. Is in collaboration with Unacademy. I'm sure if you are a frequent on my channel, you know what Unacademy is. It is the Netflix or Amazon Prime of education for me because you pay for one subscription and you get benefit to everything that is available out there. Unacademy has single-handedly created a revolution in the field of education in India by making education cheap, economical, and more accessible. If you're planning to take your exams in May 2022, this is perfect for you. Once you get your subscription, you can choose which educator to go for. As always, there are multiple educators for you to make your pick. If you don't like one educator, it's very easy to move on to someone else. You have access to live classes, recorded classes, mock test papers, revision test papers, doubt-solving sessions, and so much more. And if you want some more, there's the Plus subscription and there is the Iconic subscription. Because you're a part of my family and because I love you so much, you can get a 10% discount on your subscription by using my code CANIDHI, CANIDHI. Everything else that you need to know about Unacademy and the links for subscription are down in the description box. Go ahead, sign up. All right, so now let's go back to Singapore. What's happening in Singapore? So let's start with understanding when is it that the country offers work permits to international talent. It is when they're not able to find the right talent domestically. So of course, this is going to be in niche fields. I do not want to lie out here. Singapore right now is probably not open for everyone, but it is open for many, many, many people and for many, many, many professions. Last month, the Singapore government announced that they're seeing some severe labor shortage in multiple industries like construction, shipping, marine, etc. These shortages don't apply to just the industry and the main core people. So when it comes to construction, it's not just the laborers or the construction workers who are in shortage, but it is the entire industry that is seeing a shortage, which means they're not seeing a lot of staff for even the support functions. They're not seeing a lot of staff available for, say, the finance function, which will support the construction industry. They don't see a lot of staff that has experience in, say, admin or HR that can support that industry. So when I talk about these industries seeing shortages, it is every job in this industry that is seeing the shortage. Which means if you are a corporate baby, then this can be good news for you. Apart from that, healthcare, science, and technology are always fields that are generally open. When I again talk about healthcare, it's not just doctors and nurses, but it is also the entire support staff. So whether you work in, say, third-party workers, whether you work in insurance, whether you work in mental health support, whether you are a social worker, there are multiple opportunities for you to move. Now let's talk about what is it that you need to keep in mind. Well, firstly, the government has to maintain a workforce ratio. So any government has to sort of submit a kind of data or put it out for the public to see as to what is the ratio of domestic workers as opposed to international workers. In the end, a government wants to prove to its people that it is working for the people and not just getting foreign talent to replace the local people. This is called the workforce ratio. Thankfully, due to the pandemic, not a lot of international talent was able to move to Singapore and their international workforce ratio has actually gone down. But because Singapore is such an attractive destination in Asia, particularly for people from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh, that a lot of people are looking to move to Singapore, which means that the competition is super high. So now let's talk about the recommendation. How should you start your job search? Well, first, foremost, see if you can focus on the industries that are actually in demand. So if you can, try to apply for construction, shipping, marine, healthcare, sciences, or technology. I think it's a pretty broad base when it comes to industries because I think it can give you a lot of options in terms of what kind of jobs you want, where to look for, etc. But again, put your mind together. If you don't feel like you want to work in any of these industries, that's completely fine. You can just hold off and see when the right opportunity comes for you. Singapore government also has a 2-week rule before getting international talent on board or before even starting the search for international talent. What is this 2-week rule? So any job posting has to first be available to the people in Singapore. So it has to be available to domestic talent first for 2 full weeks. Once a company cannot find people in Singapore for 2 full weeks, that's when the job automatically becomes open for international talent as well. Why am I telling you this? Well, this is important to note. If you find a job posted online which you like, and if you see that the job exists even after 2 or 3 weeks, that means that the job has become open to international talent. Even if the job particularly says that they need somebody with work permit, it is difficult for the HR or the recruiters to go back and edit the information on all websites. They will have to take the entire job down and then repost. So not a lot of companies and recruiters want to go through that hassle. It's just not worth the time. It is an understood practice that after 2 weeks, these jobs become open to foreigners. And that's how a lot of my friends actually got their positions in Singapore itself. So keep tracking jobs on websites like Indeed, Monster, and even LinkedIn. If you see something up for more than 2 weeks, that means it's probably open for you to apply right now. Go ahead and send in your application then. The next thing that you should be doing is applying through international recruitment agencies. So there are a bunch of international recruitment agencies, and what I love about these agencies is that until and unless there is a requirement from the hiring company that, okay, I just want a local person, they will not specify anything about work permit. So if you go and look for work permit on these websites, if you go and do a search for work permit, nothing may pop up because most jobs are by default open to foreigners. It's only when a job is not open to foreigners that they will specify it. So you can go ahead and see what you come across. Also, they generally add the information of the hiring person. So they will either put a name or an email address. Again, I personally love that because you can find these people up on LinkedIn. You can send them a note on LinkedIn, or if you have their email contact, you can simply forward your resume. Doesn't that make the process so much easier? Now let's talk about what are the agencies that I recommend. I'll only give you 5 names because my friends in Singapore have suggested these. Hayes, Michael Page, Randstad, Kelly Services, and Allegis. I probably pronounced the last one wrong, but you can see the name on the screen, so please go ahead and do the right search. Also, before applying to any of these positions, make sure that you have one resume that is good enough. I already have a video on how you can find free resume templates online, so make sure you go through that. First, pull up a good, decent resume of yourself. Limit your resume to 2 pages. I always prefer 1 page, but if you think that you have enough information to maybe bleed into the other page, strictly cut off at 2 pages. It cannot go beyond 2 pages. Take any other irrelevant information out and focus most on your most recent experience. So if you have work experience of 10 years, don't talk about what you did 10 years ago. Talk more about what you're doing right now. I also think that these are all one-shot chances. So you want to make sure that your first job application has the perfect resume and has the perfect cover letter. Because generally what happens is once you apply to any of the open positions, the recruiters then contact you and set your profile up. And if you want to take the entire matter in your own hands and control the entire process, then I recommend you go to each of these 5 websites and set up your own profile. Upload your resume, fill in all the information. That way, anytime you apply to any of their positions, your profile is set up, so there is nothing that needs to be done in the back end. If your profile is good enough, it will be forwarded and you will be contacted. The last thing that I recommend is networking on LinkedIn. Make sure you find these recruiters if you see their names on these websites. Look them up on LinkedIn, connect with them so that you can send a direct note to them. Also, there are consulting companies who are always hiring. Companies like PwC in Singapore were hiring even when the whole world had stopped sponsoring visas. They had tons of opportunities in Singapore, which is open for work sponsorship. So please always look at consulting companies, Big 4s, Big 8s, which are always open to hiring, and try and get yourself an employee referral if you can. Also, make sure that you have an impressionable LinkedIn profile because all of this goes hand in hand with the entire job search process. So that is it for you today from my end. I hope that this video has been of help to you. I'm going to be linking some of the links down in the description box. Please make sure to check them all out. And as a bonus, let me tell you this, the Singapore government does multiple job fairs for international talent. So these are job fairs that are specifically aimed towards grooming international talent so that you can write your resume the right way, that you can interview, how to do Zoom interviews, what kind of jobs are available, how is it that you should project your profile. All of that does happen. So I'm going to be linking some of those links down below as well. So sign up for these job fairs, get some more information, and then get going. Do not do any half-baked applications. It's always a one-shot chance. So maximize your success percentage in the first shot itself. Eventually, what it takes is persistence. So that's all from me for today's video. I hope that this video has helped you. If it did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Well, on that light note, I promise to see you in the next video. Until then, please make sure you take care of yourself. Stay safe. Namaste.